Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a lot like Security Breach. If you're a fan of the series, you either love it or you hate it. And, well, I hate it. It's the worst FNAF game I've ever played, and the others don't even come close. I might dislike the ruined DLC for Security Breach because it's boring and completely unchallenging, not to mention how ridiculous and immersion breaking the reality warping mask stuff is, and really, bottomless pits. In what's supposed to be a horror game, you can die to bottomless pits. But here's the thing: as much as I dislike that, I'll take it any day of the year over ever touching FNAF 2 again. Ruin may be boring and feel implausible, but at least it's just that. FNAF 2 is from top to bottom the worst experience I've ever had playing a FNAF game. Let's start with the gameplay. In fact, let's focus on that since that's the entire purpose of a game to begin with. The game is supposed to be bigger and scarier than the first game, but it's really not. There may be 11 threats to fend off instead of 4 or 5, but none of them act exactly the same. You wind the music box to calm down the puppet, you flash the flashlight to get rid of Foxy, but for everyone else, all you have to do is put on the mask and keep it on for 5 seconds. That's it. Even Golden Freddy, the scariest, most mysterious threat from the first game, what do you do for him? You put on the mask for a split second and you'll be fine. The first game has you looking at all the cameras, getting to know how the animatronics work, what paths they follow, making sure you know what works to fend them off the first time you play it. Every single time, you'll be using this information that you've learned. You have two giant metal doors that you can slam down to tell the animatronics, no thank you, I'm not dying tonight. With the caveat that if you keep them close for too long, you'll run out of power and you'll be completely helpless to stop them from getting to you. The game's jump scares hit hard because most of the time they come down to something you did that you could have stopped the animatronics from getting to you, and the failure hurts all the more because of it. On top of that, these creatures convincingly look like machines that could exist in the real world in a pizzeria made to entertain kids. FNAF 2 fails on both of these fronts. Unless you know a very specific strategy that very few people have successfully pulled off, there is no way to guarantee that getting a jump scare will entirely be your own fault. And as for the actual scariness, for the most part, the creatures that chase after you aren't even that realistic. I made this montage a while back with my thoughts on some of them, and I'll let it play right now. This office is way too bright to be scary. Look at it. It's lit up all over the place. Is this supposed to be creepy? It's not creepy. Are those Christmas lights? The only thing scary about this guy is on 1020 mode. Good luck trying to make it to 6 a.m. with him camping the right vent. This guy even trying to be scary? He's way too chubby and cute. What's this thing gonna do? Fuck me to death? It's way too sexualized to be scary. Oh look, it's one of those wind-up jaw toys. This is supposed to be the most powerful entity from the first game, and this time he doesn't even crash your game. He just zooms in on his face, and it's not scary even. This doesn't even look like a real animatronic in the slightest. Aren't they supposed to be scary by looking like things you might see in the real world? You'd never see this in a real world, especially in a kid's restaurant. I'll give this one some credit. She does hang from the ceiling, and it is kind of creepy when she hangs out in your office and you have the camera open and you have no idea when she's supposed to kill you. So I'll give it some credit. It's kind of spooky, but not by much, considering this game. Okay, maybe I went a little over the top on some of those rants, but come on, you can't tell me Scott didn't know what he was doing when he made Toy Chica's model. My point still stands. These designs, for the most part, don't really scare me. Now, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the gameplay. Now, I will give this game some credit. The designs I mentioned do have some strong points, and they do look creepy, not necessarily scary, but definitely creepy from certain angles on the cameras. Thing is, you'll never see most of those camera angles because you'll be thinking too hard about that music box. Puppet ruins this game by hogging all your time on the monitor, and he's the only real reason you ever have to use it at all. He's so bad in this game that an entire fan game was made to show how this game could not only have been made scarier, but had a more engaging gameplay loop as well. Now, if the music box was bound to a hotkey instead of a specific camera, then sure, it wouldn't be so bad, but having the only way to wind the music box be to stay on one specific camera disincentivizes you from looking anywhere else, and it's a major design flaw with this game. Another major design flaw is the game's custom night. In the first game, Foxy was very lenient after you dropped the monitor so you could easily stall him while dealing with the other three animatronics. But if you want to have any chance of beating this game's custom night, you have to know how every single character works. Being able to 100% a game shouldn't rely on knowing every single detail about the code. But the way this game is designed, it's almost a necessity. So if you put on the mask at the wrong time, Foxy could get to you for seemingly no reason. Oh, and you also have to know when exactly the monitor can be forced down to start a blackout. And Toy Pontiac's different from the other vent opening animatronics for no reason. Instead of being guaranteed to leave after 5 seconds, guess what he does? Every half a second you're wearing the mask, he has a 50% chance to start leaving the office. So while he could be in the office for only 5 seconds, chances are he'll stay inside for much longer, and that'll leave you vulnerable to Foxy and the puppet. Gotta wind that box, am I right? Ugh, glad I got that off my chest. I'll be honest, the only reason I ever go back to this game is to beat the 1029 and rub the game's face in it. Look, I'm sorry if FNAF 2 is your favorite game ever and I just dropped a bunch of hedgehog pellets all over it. At the very least, I'm glad someone likes this game and that it was able to make someone happy. I'm just not that someone. But if you don't want to kill me after hearing my thoughts on this game, maybe press the like button down below. And also subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more from me. Anyways, stay safe and stay awesome.